here, even though it's on that page, that this, I do know the total of this whole part. Okay, that's why. So I'll add it in black because it's one that was given and I just made a boo-boo, which happens in life. And if you remember from what I told you at the beginning of the school year, that making mistakes and speed are not how your math ability is evaluated or whatever. So like mathematicians tend to be slower processors or more methodical because they know that they're taking their time in order to make sure they do it correctly, rather than those people who try to work really quick and then they make silly mistakes, or they make mistakes because they're just trying to be done fast and they're not trying to really make sure they understand. So making mistakes too, if you notice I caught my mistake, I was like, wait a minute, something doesn't make sense here. And then I was able to go and figure out why, or the solution. So same thing, we're still talking about the same thing, we're just, our unknown has changed. So basically, these are the ones we do know, right? 8, 5, 5, and 11. And here is the part we don't know. But we know 8, 5, 5, 11, and whatever that number is should equal up to 40. Okay, so what I might do is say, well, if I add 8 plus 5 plus 5 plus 11, what is left? That would equal 40, right? So then I would maybe find the difference between the labeled parts and the number 40 to figure out what goes there. Then once I have that number, which maybe I don't know, maybe I won't give the answer to that one. Now, if whatever this is the same length as that, so now I have a base and a height to do my triangle. Now I have all the dimensions to do my small areas, and I'm going to let that be your little challenge, is to figure that one out on your own. And again, you just have to add all of your partial areas together to get the total area of this composite figure. Okay, again, for sake of video, I'm not going to erase. I just remembered I forgot a part on the last one. It's okay. I hope these will get better as time goes on. So there's your composite one. Maybe what you'll have to do is kind of rewind and fast forward. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But again, if I redo this whole thing, we'll be here all night. And so will you, well, you just get it later, which you probably don't mind, but I do. So let's rewind because I made a boo-boo there. On the triangle one, back to the triangles, that's where I made the mistake. So let's say my suggestion to you was to have a clean sheet of paper that you won't get confused and to just write your answers. And I'm making up numbers. I don't know what the answers really are. Something. No, I already did 12. Whatever. Let's say it's something like that. Those are your answers. There's more problems than that, so there's no way this can be. I have included an attachment in the Google Classroom that is the decoder. So basically what they tell you is if the letter A equals 1, and B equals 2, and C equals 3, and D equals 4, and E equals 5, and F equals 6, and so on and so forth, all the way to 26, which would be Z, we need to use that code to convert these numbers into letters and then unscramble them. And if you go back, and I'm not going to say it now, if you go back and you read the instructions carefully, I gave you a clue as to what the word would be to help make it a little easier, because I sat there for a hot minute trying to think, what is this word? These are weird letters. And then finally I was like, oh, and then I put a little clue to help you because I think it will help you. So that's the end of the triangles, is you get your 7 answers and then you convert each one of those answers into a letter, and then you unscramble the letters to make a word, and that's what goes at the bottom. Okay? And then the next page is the composite figure. So if you now need to rewind and then fast forward or whatever, and I'll try to make a note so you know that this information is in there. Okay? Sorry. I'm so sorry. But again, I don't want to start over because it would take forever. Okay, so then you go from the triangles and the code, the word decoding, to the composite figure. You find the area of that guy. Then, on the very last page, they give you a children's pizza. And basically, they tell you that it is made up of equilateral triangles, which, if you know from the word equilateral, and again, my picture doesn't really match. They're not really all equal, but it's basically a 6-piece pizza that we can cut into. Oh goodness, that's not gonna work for me. I'll get it, I promise, one of these days. My paper looks better than the board. There we go. All right, so they tell us that basically, so each of the sides of the pizza, which they, I believe they tell you in the text at the top, it tells you that each side of the slice is 6 inches. So you have to kind of label it, because it's not labeled for you, but they do write it in words. They just don't label it on the picture, but they do label the height, because if each side is 6, this is not 6. Okay, this is 5. They tell us, and there are 6 equal pieces here. Now, this one's kind of funky because you have to solve the code first and then do the mathematics, okay? So the first part gives you a bunch of symbols, and then at the bottom it tells you what letter corresponds to what symbol. So what I did on my paper is I literally did, okay, the first word has 3 symbols. The second word has 5. And then 3, excuse me. Excuse me. So it goes 3, 5, 3, 6, 4 or something like that. So I looked at the characters and said, okay, I know this is how many letters in each of the words because they're separated. And then you look at the code below and say, okay, that letter is or that symbol is this letter. And then I kind of just filled it in, sort of like Hangman, kind of. Then this code tells you how much the pizza, it tells you what math to do to figure out how much the pizza is going to cost as a whole piece. Okay? So your job is to figure out how many square inches are in this whole pizza, and then how much it costs, and then do that math to get your final answer. And I believe it'll say, type your answer with, I don't know, without decimal or with the decimal. It'll say right above where you enter it, how to enter it, okay? So that one's kind of tricky because you have to solve the code first, and then do the math to answer the question. This is the clue you need to answer the question. Okay, and then that should take you to the, you win, ha ha ha, yay. And then to find the square footage, or square inch of this, total square inches of this pizza, don't forget, that's a triangle. There's 6 equal triangles on here. So you can find the square inches of one, and then multiply in order to figure out how much the total pizza. You don't have to do each slice separately because you'll be doing the same exact operation 6 times in a row and then adding them all together. And you'll save time with multiplication. So that's the last page. I think that's the last page, I think. Let me double check. Let me check my notes. Check my notes. Yeah. I think that's it. So, sorry that one was a little bit complicated. Eventually I'd love to start making my own of these, which maybe would be a little bit more straightforward, but then I also don't trust that I'd make them complicated enough and that maybe they'd be too easy. I don't know, I haven't spent a lot of time doing these digital class sessions, basically. So, I know that you guys enjoyed the ratio mystery thing, which we never quite finished, but so I try to find ones that are a little more gamey, kind of like you're trying to get to a thing. I don't know, you seem to enjoy those ones. So, watch the video if you need it, and let me know if you have any extra questions, okay? And I'm more than available to Zoom or do anything with you guys individually. So if you need extra help, let me know. We'll work on it. All right, good luck, pizza makers. Bye, take it easy.